Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for coming back to another episode of What Else Is Going On podcast, aka We Go podcast. I have actually one of my favorite people. He is so funny, so kind, so nice, just a genuine, authentic person. I really love this person. He's been on the podcast before.
In another world, I would have died to be a video girl. What's that song called?
I know you see me on the video.
True.
Yeah.
True.
But you still don't make me know what
True.
Got a different girl every day of the week. It's cool, not trying to put a rush on you.
Right.
I had to let you know. Yo, shorty, won't you go get a bag of the
Don't you know the
I'll be undressed in a bra or a see-through. I've been on his podcast with his sister, who is also an amazing person. If you're watching and you listen to their podcast, which you probably do, you probably know who I'm talking about. But if you are listening, I want y'all to give a warm welcome to my boo, my boy, my guy, Tom from Dumpster Dive.
Na, 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 you were my boo, my joy.
Y'all, Tom has learned a new word today, courtesy of my sweatshirt.
And guys, I did ask if it was. I asked permission if it's okay for me to say as a white gay man living in New York City. It's always important to ask permission.
I said, absolutely, it is. I told him I got this from a store on Instagram, and the store is out of Philly. So they have like Philly John, Eagles John. So I'm going to get one of those. You know, they have all the Zodiac Johns. I was like, well, I'm not going to go that far in it. I think this will be good. And Eagles John will be good. So yes, he has learned a new word today, y'all. So welcome, Tom, to the club.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here. So guys, again, his podcast is Dumpster Dive. Funny. They're hilarious. They also have a Patreon. They do recaps. I will be putting the link to all of their stuff in the bio. So make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you check them out because they are really fun. They get good guests. I mean, hello. I was just on a couple of weeks ago talking Potomac. You know, clock that T, clock that T. You write about that one thing. Write about that one thing. So y'all know, so for real, seriously, Tom is just amazing. He is one of, if you listened last week, Salt Lake City, you guys saw Chelsea. Tom is part of our little group that would normally be on vacation in a couple of weeks, but somehow it kind of slipped through the cracks. Yeah.
No, I couldn't do it this year because
the marathon.
Yeah. There was just like, because I'm running the New York City Marathon in 2 weeks.
Tom really and truly is inspirational with that because I think we talked about that like when we first met. He runs and I jog, and I've done 3 half marathons, and I've always wanted to do New York, and Baltimore is a qualifier. The 13, not the full. Tom is running the full.
The full.
God bless you. First of all, congratulations for qualifying.
Thank you.
You're training. Are you excited? What are your feelings? Like, how are you feeling? It's 2 weeks away.
I know. It is crazy that it's 2 weeks away. It's interesting. I'm feeling good. I've been having a lower mental health moment in the past couple weeks about it. Like the training is so low. I trained for 20 weeks, which is crazy. Well, I will have trained for 20 weeks. I think this is week 18.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
And I ran my furthest distance that I'll run for training a couple weeks ago. And then after that, a lot of people get like this kind of like it's weird. It's like a little depression you get after between your longest training run and then the marathon, because you're kind of like, you kind of don't have anything to look forward to for a month until the marathon.
Okay.
Kind of like just every day is like, hey, one more sleep, like two weeks worth of more sleep till the marathon. And I'm just excited to be here. I am kind of tired of waiting because I've been training since the beginning of June.
And now it's just like you said, what's been your longest run?
I did 20 miles 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And yeah, then I'll do 26.2.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for you.
Me too. No, I'm really excited. It's going to be really fun. And I already have plans of running some more marathons next year. But I encourage everyone to just go out and like set a goal for yourself, and
Yeah.
no matter what that goal, like a health goal, like for
Yeah.
yourself, no matter what the goal is, it's fun to like train for a goal, you know?
It almost gives you not a reason to wake up in the morning. Hopefully you want to wake up,
Yeah,
but
no, I
mental
understand what you're
health
saying though.
wise, it
Hmm.
is definitely good. I remember when I was running training my first year, I did it because people told me that I couldn't do it.
Hmm.
And that was when I had lost like 40 pounds the first time. That was 2008. And people were like, oh, no, no. And I did it barely by the skin of my chinny chin chin. Then my second year, I was ready in shape. And my longest run was 8 miles. Like I never did the full
Hmm.
13 on a training, but I did 8. And I felt so good. And then the last year, my third year, I got really cocky and didn't do the proper training, but was dehydrated. Oh, I got this. Like went out the night before, was drinking
No, Taria,
wine. Yes.
no.
I got so cocky and I was like, I got this. And when I tell you, I suffered and I didn't know that I was dehydrated until I figured out like the next day I couldn't get out of bed. I was like
Yeah.
crawling. So I learned my lesson with that. But I know what you mean. It was like a high, like I'm working towards something.
Hmm.
So I
It's
like
cool.
that. I'm glad
Yeah.
that you said that.
Yeah, and also who cares about how slow or fast anyone runs it?
Yeah.
Like it's a very small percentage of people get up and do these races. So if you're able to train for one, I encourage it.
And it bonds people. I'll say so. My kids used to be in karate. Little Corey was like almost. He was like in a regular karate club, and then they put him in like a another one, and he was almost at black belt. But then he got bored, and a part of me was like, "No, you're going to stay in and do this because you're good." But then that's he didn't want to do it anymore. But the owners of the place, the wife, she ran marathons for time.
Hmm.
And I'll never forget my first year. Somehow, some way, anybody who lives in Baltimore knows, like the Howard Street. There's like a bridge on Howard Street. It's like a so we had to run up and over this bridge and come down a hill, and it was almost like somebody hit a button and just drained all the energy out of me. My legs were bricks. Like I said, this was my first year. Her and her friend are running for time. She saw me, slowed down, and ran a mile with me and talked to me and said, "Get off the wall, Taria. Come on, Taria. Move your legs, Taria." And that meant so much because, and she told her friend, "Go. I'm not going to leave her here." And so once it was almost like once I got going again, you know,
Yeah.
that feeling like I got
Yeah.
a second wind. And later on, I remember going in to pay my bill because they didn't play about you got your tuition for the week.
Mm.
Um, but she was like, I couldn't leave you on the wall. I would never leave you on the wall. And I was like, wow, just in that moment, it really felt like we are all in this together. Even though you're
Mhm.
running for time, I'm barely moving, but we're all in this together. So I'll never forget that moment.
Yeah, there's something like so beautiful about I mean, you knew her, but like races like that bring out the most like authentic like kindness in people.
Hmm.
Like race day and if you've ever been if you live in New York City, you know. If you don't, I encourage you at some point in your life to come to New York City for the New York City Marathon because like it's like the most magical day in the city.
Hmm.
Like all New Yorkers are can be assholes, but at the end of the day, everyone is very like has a great sense of camaraderie with other New
Yes.
Yorkers,
Yeah.
whether we like and show it or not.
Hmm.
And so on Marathon Sunday, just like it brings out that camaraderie and everyone's just so sweet. I mean, I just cry the whole day, just like watching people. I'm sure I'm gonna be a disaster on the marathon. I'm gonna be like, thank you for cheering me on, stranger.
But
But
I get it. That's like Baltimore, people are standing on, you're down in places where people may think, oh, it's Baltimore, but people are standing on their steps,
yep,
clapping as you go. So I can imagine in New York that feeling is even more heightened because it's the New York Marathon.
it's crazy. It is crazy that I'm doing it. I can't really believe it. I got my finishers jacket in.
I
I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy.
I would put that bad baby on with nothing underneath. I'd be naked taking pictures. I'm so excited.
Thank
One
you.
day, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say one day I'm going to be there with you, but I'm probably going to never.
Do
There was
it. I mean, you know what though?
the
I
half.
New York City
Thank you.
has two big halves. There's a Brooklyn half and the New York City half. I think everyone can do a half marathon.
Yeah, that's what I even because people you can walk too, you just have to be done in a certain amount of time.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to get, and this number is going to sound crazy to Tom, I'm sure, but for me, I wanted to do the 13 in 2 hours or less. Like my second year, my
Oh,
best time was like 2 hours.
that's a pay like my half my last half I did was just shy of 2 hours. So I mean that's like a very great goal to get.
I want to get to consistently running a less than 10-minute mile. So like even if it's
Yeah.
9:59. And I
Yeah.
know some miles may be than others, but you've inspired me to get back out there and start running because I had started again last year. And it's
Hmm.
funny because a couple years ago, my doctor was like, I can hear your knees and I got x-rays and arthritis. And she said, so you might want to ease out on the running. And then later on in the conversation, she told me she had arthritis. I said, didn't you say that you were a runner? And she said, yeah. I said, I'll keep getting cortisone shots.
You better clock that, doctor.
How are you going to tell me?
There's also a lot. I mean, guys, I'm not a doctor. Please do not take advice from me. I just want to say that. But um a lot of like these, issues that we have with our joints and stuff are from just like stagnant like
Come
things that
on.
we do. The more active you are, the more active you will be.
Yes.
And that's something I want to carry. I'm only 33 years old, but I'm like when I'm old, I want to always remind myself like something our parents always said to us was like the less because our family is very old. Like my sister and I are we only have one first cousin on all sides of our family.
I did
Everyone,
not know that.
yeah, everyone is ancient.
Okay.
There
But
was
that
no
means they live long lives.
They do live long lives, but like something you see when your family members get old is when they decide to stop doing,
Mm,
they won't ever do it again. Like when they
yeah.
stop going for that walk, every
Yeah.
afternoon at 2, they probably won't start walking again. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
just never stop moving your body. It's so good for your mental health. And also a lot of injuries are prevented by just continuing to keep your body in movement and going to the gym and stuff. I don't know. This is like such a like a boring health and fitness
No,
conversation.
but I think it's
But
motivating because for me, I always feel like, I never, other than us talking about the episode and us navigating the episode, which guys, we're going to talk Salt Lake City. I just feel like naturally when I get on here, whatever's supposed to come out will come out. And I feel like there could be somebody listening that is going back and forth now. Like, should
yeah.
I start? Should I not start? Am I too old? Is it
No,
a
you're never
crazy
too old
goal?
and you should
Yeah.
always start is what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. And but
Oh, go ahead.
like no, like you said, with health issues, my youngest, I had talked about before that she had asthma issues a lot and was in the hospital. But there was a point when she was younger that she ran track and she didn't have any issues while she was
Yeah.
running track. And her doctor said it's like a catch 22. People say, I have this, I can't do that. But because you don't do that, this gets worse. So it's like a catch, sometimes.
Yeah. And Kix is going to run the New York City half this year, this upcoming year. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't have announced that publicly, but she decided she's going to run it this year. So the next race will be Kix.
When is that?
That's in March.
Do you have to qualify?
No, no, you can. Well, you
Like,
can. You can qualify, but you can also just raise money. But you can't just sign up. You can't just like pay $100 and run.
okay, so because that's what Baltimore is. You can pay or you can run with a team or you can, okay.
Yeah, so she'll be fundraising with a team to do that. Yeah. New York
I'm
City
so
is
excited
New
for
York City
her.
Marathon. The racing in New York City is really tough because
Yes.
things fill up really quick
Yeah.
and you can't just sign up. You can't just sign up for the big races like you can in like smaller towns.
Hmm.
But well, this past weekend I went down to the Cape to visit some friends and they the Cape Cod Marathon was happening while we were there. And so we went and cheered people on, and it was so
Oh, that
fun.
is so community.
Yeah. And wait, so funny story before we get into this. So the day before the marathon was the Cape Cod half marathon, which was on
Okay.
Saturday, and I had to run a training run that day, and I was running, and I didn't realize there was a race happening, and all of a sudden I was like in the race. And this race was a very I wouldn't say lightly attended because there was a good amount of people there, but it wasn't like New York City like the street
Yeah.
It's like there was still car traffic and we were running like on the side of the road. That was the race. So I'm like,
What?
well, I should just run across the finish line. Like, why not? Okay.
No, no.
So I start running with everyone. And then like where I found the race, there was not a ton of like people. But then as the
Okay.
race goes on towards the finish line, there are more people there. And then I pull up to this like town square where there's there's like hundreds
Oh,
of people cheering me on.
you're like,
I also caught the race, and this is not a judgment on these people. I'm just saying I run a bit faster than the people that I was with.
okay.
So I was just passing all these people, and they had like an announcer at the finish line,
No,
and they're like, "You're doing amazing!" And then they're like,
no.
everyone cheer for him," and I'm like, "No, like I." And then, I crossed the finish line. People are literally cheering for me, and I did jack shit, and I felt like shit. And then these people were trying to hand me a medal, and they were like, "Congrats!" Like, and I'm like, "No, like I didn't run. I didn't do this today. I just like happened to be here." And they're like, "Okay, why are you here?" And I'm like, I can't talk about it right now." And
Oh, they were trying to give you a
I know.
God bless you for not taking that medal because I might have been like, thank you.
Well, because I still had more miles. If I didn't have more miles to go, I probably would have just taken.
Got you. Oh,
But I
but
still
you
had to
still
do
had to
it after
finish your
like
run.
5 miles. Yeah, so I didn't.
Tom, that is hilarious. I'm literally
He,
picturing you just
I
running
screamed at
like,
this woman. There was this water station with all these people being like, "You got it, take some water," and I literally go, "I'm not a participant in this race."
I didn't like drinking because I didn't want to use the porta potties.
Hmm.
So the first year I tried to hydrate really good before, and like I may have hit maybe like two water stations. I was so afraid that I was going to have to use the bathroom in those disgusting porta potties. Cause like with Baltimore, they run the half and the marathon at the same time. The
Yeah.
marathon people start first, and then we start out at the 13. And then you got the 5K and you got the team. So it's the city is, you do not want to be anywhere near Baltimore. People listening probably know you do not want to be anywhere. And I think it might have been last weekend actually. But yeah, that's so funny. Now you're gonna make me, I'm gonna go upstairs and look at my medals and pet them and maybe get psyched up to do it next
Yeah,
year.
do another race next year. Do it.
I mean, because it feels good to be able to say, oh, I ran 13.1 miles. Like I said, the
Oh, it's
last
so
year I
fun.
almost killed myself.
I know. You get the itch.
Yeah. But now yeah. And I never thought I'd be one of those people. But I also, something else that we've talked about on this channel is your language. I had to change my language around it. Like I did it because people told me I couldn't. But every time I went to go for a run, I'd say, oh my God, I got to do this run. I hate this run. I started changing my language to myself about running. And I
Hmm.
would say, thank you, body. Thank you, knees. Thank you, God, for this time. Like for me, I believe in God, I pray, whatever, but that's the only time, one of the few times when I'm doing something, running, my mind is not like on anything. That's like the only time. And I feel like it's my time with God sometimes. Like, hey, can I just download some stuff? And can maybe you talk to me a little bit here? Like,
Hmm.
so God, you
Yeah,
got me wanting to go for a run. Oh,
don't do it. It can be very spiritual, but it
all
can
right,
also be
bye.
awful.
Can you imagine? Like,
No, I can't run more today.
you're done. Well, speaking of athletics, maybe we can try zip lining. Like
I'm
who knew?
down.
Mother Mary. What?
Yeah, it's her favorite activity. Who knew?
Yeah. Okay. I'll start from okay. Before we get into it, what are we, 6 episodes in? Is it 5 or 6? It's either 5 or 6.
I
Because
guess, yeah. For some reason, yeah, I guess
did you
5.
think it was like 7 or 8? Because last
No,
week
I almost
talking
thought
to
it was earlier. I feel like we haven't gotten very far into some stuff, but we just had a trip. So yeah, I bet it's like 5 or 6.
okay. Because last week when I was talking to Chelsea, I thought it was like 7 or 8. I felt like we had gotten further in because I feel like we're getting so much. Overall, how are you feeling? I know it's early,
Mhm.
but are you getting any tingles? Do you feel like nostalgic housewife is back? Like, what are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, these ladies, it was episode 5. I was just checking.
Okay.
These ladies have a great chemistry. It's like very fun. The drama is for the most part pretty pointless, which I enjoy.
Yes.
And we're not, kind of discussing we're not having like race wars or
Yes, yes.
there's no one being sent to prison. There's no one
Right,
um beating the ever living shit out of each other.
right.
It's just like we're fighting over someone being with a toxic man. We're fighting over miscommunications about people's children and like I guess that is kind of serious. But I like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
little bit lighter and
Much lighter.
fun. I mean, I honestly thought last season was for the most part pretty light, like but
Yeah,
until the back half, like with
yeah.
the reality Von Teese of it all. But um these ladies just have when they just show up like prepared to make to collect a paycheck, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
When sometimes like the women of Potomac, even though I'm feeling more optimistic about the start to this season, they do feel like they're going to work.
Yes, yes,
But this show, it's hard. It's like this show. They are like, this is my job, and I love my job.
yes.
Because like, this is my job. It's a good job, but I hate it. But I gotta go. You know what I mean?
Like they're going to do something else after work. Whereas these people, they love it so much. They just want to be in it. They just want to be.
Yeah. And also, these women don't. I know they all have businesses. They don't hawk their businesses so like it doesn't. The only person that does it that bothers me the most, I think, is well, both Meredith and Whitney, they're both like kind of business forward, but Lisa has kind of let Vita go be Vita.
Yeah, yeah.
And her, Heather, Angie, Mary, Bronwyn, Brittany, they're just like, they're not hawking anything. They're just living their life on
That's
camera.
true. I didn't even think that is such a distinct difference between a lot of the franchises now.
Yeah. Because
That is
I could not care less about your business.
right.
Like I don't care. Like I don't really know none of there's not a business that I've really wanted to like invest that much energy into on these shows, right?
Right. You were so right. I did not think about that. Over half the cast is not business forward. We're not even really getting Beauty Lab and Laser.
Right. Like they have they run their shit, but they don't make it
Right.
our business, you know.
Mm.
What's in this goblet?
Actually, apple cranberry.
That sounds so good.
It's so good.
Apple cran is really good.
It's the best thing. In the Black community, we think ginger ale cures everything.
Well,
Oh, you
ginger ale
got a
is delicious.
headache? Ginger ale.
Yeah.
Your leg broke? Ginger ale. And then I think apple cran comes close second.
You think? Does it cure? I do
For
think
me,
ginger ale has a healing
it
element.
does. Medicinal. Apple cran is very good for UTI. I don't have one currently. Let me just put that out there. But if you did, this will cure it pretty quickly. Let me just put that out there real quick. Okay. Certainly, maybe Mary knows about apple cran. If I ever meet her, I will ask her, girl, because you got to be getting them using things to stop from using the bathroom.
She
Okay.
has to have UTIs constantly if that's what she's doing. Okay,
Maybe.
now maybe you talked about this already, but I know I am not someone with a vagina or
Okay.
a uterus or those parts. I my understanding is that if you were to put a tampon in not on your period, it is
Uh-huh.
incredibly painful.
Incredibly. And I have said all vaginas are not the same,
Yeah.
clearly, because I could
And thank you for saying that.
never. They are not the same. I could. When she said that, I was like, listen, not even to be graphic, but there's different sizes. You got
Yeah.
light, you got small, you got medium, and sometimes I'm at the lightest, and I cannot even imagine. When she said super, I said, girl, that's for like, I might not leave the house days. Like, are you serious right
A
now?
super, you might as well be putting like a dildo up you.
That's how it feels sometimes. I'm like, even on days when I need it, it still feels like, like
Yeah.
got to
Oh
get.
my
So
God.
for her, I was like, Mary, girl, that's why, again, all vaginas aren't the same. And we know they're not the same, but all vaginas truly are not the same.
And can I get like stuck? If there's not like fluid for it to like
Yeah. Grab
soak up,
onto. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a pretty. So when she said that, when she said it, and then when she laughed and super, that's immediately what I went to. Girl, how are you even? And you're out and about, like moving, walking around. How are God bless you, Mary. Maybe Mary's got the super cooch. I don't because
Or maybe she just stays,
yeah,
what?
yeah. Well, I thought about that too. Just a second, like maybe she's, which that in itself is something different. Okay. Who, Mary? Okay. So with this episode, we start out. I'm going to ask you something. Okay. Because we know how these production wants to put together a good show.
Mhm.
We start the episode with Henry in his gaming room, Lisa coming in, talking about dinner, basically saying enough with the games. Then
That was a
throughout,
mess.
and then throughout the episode, we have Angie, which we'll get to, saying what she said to Heather about him playing games. And my thought was, did they, I was going to say record, I sound 100. Did they film this season and then have to do pickups or something and mention, put a bug in Lisa's ear, like, oh, we want to see, we haven't seen Henry, so let's see him playing a video. Because to me, it just fit, it was just too good.
I think it happened a little more organically than that because
Okay.
I just think they happen. I think that like I don't know, but maybe not. It feels like a wild scene to go back and record.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah.
And I don't think we could make, and Lisa's not a good actress, and that kid
That's
isn't a good
true.
actor. And so you did kind of believe it.
Yeah.
But whenever they film scenes like that, where like Lisa opens the door to the room to say, it's like, well, no, the door had to be open before because the cameraman had to go in there to film her opening it. So
Right.
like, do you ever think about that when they like go into
No,
a
I didn't even
room?
think about
Oh,
that.
I always think about that. I'm like, when they open the door, like, oh my God. It's like, well, what do you mean, oh my God? Like you saw, like you had to go in that room.
Maybe they're like, welcome to the house, guys. I'm going to go to another part. You do what you got to do so I can be surprised. Or do you think they have cameras like on the walls and stuff? Or
No, I don't think they do any. Well, it would be diabolical to have a camera on the wall of her child's
you
bedroom.
know what? That even if it was just for that scene, that is
Right.
crazy. Right. Okay.
I just think there's a level of stage to it, but
Yes.
I don't think it makes sense that Lisa would want to film a scene after the fact of her kid playing too much video games.
Of them not telling her, just being like, oh, we haven't
Well,
seen.
they could have done that, I guess, yeah. But
But
that,
I get what you're saying. Maybe it was just one of those housewives moments, magic.
yeah, we just happened to be filming him playing Fortnite.
That is insane. When I saw, because again, so I was telling Tom, I watched the episode twice and I was recording my Real Housewives of Potomac recap, which if you haven't caught that, make sure you go back and watch or listen. And I got done at like 9:20, 9:25 and jumped into Salt Lake City. So I had only saw the second half. So of course I see, the flashback of Angie talking to Heather about Jack. And then when I watched the episode again, I was like, no, we are not
It
starting out the episode with Jack playing a video game.
it really was a mess.
Yeah, that was good. And then we have Meredith with her rabbi.
Mhm.
Was she practicing? Was that, and I don't want to sound ignorant, I really didn't know, but was it the Torah or,
Well, thank you for asking me,
I mean,
famous Jewish person.
weigh in the comments, y'all.
Yeah, no, no, no. I think she was practicing some of the readings you do
Yeah,
at
okay.
your bat mitzvah.
Okay.
I've never been to a bat mitzvah, but
Me neither.
I just didn't grow up around our neighbor was Jewish, but he just age-wise we were a little further apart, so I didn't get to go to his bar mitzvah, but I would oh my God, I want to go to one. I just like
But
love learning about people's cultures and religion.
yes.
Like um I just think it's I think bar and bat mitzvahs are like such a beautiful thing that they do and
Yeah.
intentional and I like it.
What do you think about her? Do you think that it's a genuine interest for her and that Seth was really moved, or do you think it's just something for her to do for the show? Or it could be both. I mean,
I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
a bit of both. I think she was
Okay.
probably trying to think of something. I think it's something she'd been thinking about doing,
Okay.
but then she also um does need a storyline because she
Yeah.
doesn't have a lot going on this season, it seems.
Yeah. And she answered someone online, talked about her renting another home. And honestly, it was just what I thought. She said she's barely there. She's mainly in New York and somewhere else.
I think LA.
Yeah, yes, LA. So
'Cause
that's why.
I think her one of the kids is in LA and then the other two are in New York.
Yeah, because weren't they living in New York when Salt Lake started? They kind of like
Yeah.
recruited her from New York. So they're talking about her homes, like her not having a home there, but she doesn't even live there except to film.
I think we get more of that than we want to believe. And
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, okay, yeah.
like
All
for
right.
instance, on Potomac, like I love Stacey. I think she's been a really cool addition to the show.
Hmm.
But that woman moved to Potomac to be on the Real Houses of Potomac.
Yeah.
It's,
Now,
she kind of like owns it almost.
and she did used to be on Fox 5, but that was before
Right, but then she was in QVC, but it was like
in
I think it was like
Philly.
a reason to come back to.
Yes, 1000%. 1000%. So Meredith and her bar mitzvah. Now we get to Bronwyn and Lisa. I like the authenticity of this scene.
Mhm.
Also, so all right. Well, so I'll how you feel. So we talk about they show Lisa and mind you, again, I had watched the back half first, so I'm seeing the conversation with Bronwyn and her daughter first. I was like, oh, did her father pass away or what happened? So then when I saw this, so we see Lisa and Bronwyn. Were they at a spa? What were they? I didn't even pay
They were
attention.
getting their I think pedicures.
Pedicures. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought I saw a leg massage. I don't even know how I didn't. I was just so like into this conversation, but basically from their trip to Milwaukee or Milwaukee or Millie, whatever Heather said, Milwaukee, the real pronunciation of it. But they had a layover. She makes a face because she thinks she's funny, Bronwyn, and Lisa says, "Oh, your daughter looks just like you." She pulls up a picture of her phone, pulls up her phone, and shows Lisa, Gwen, which is Bronwyn's daughter, her father, and Lisa knows the family. Wild,
It's
like
honestly crazy. We've never seen anything like this before.
never. Like that gave me like even Corey. So Corey watched the back half with me.
Mhm.
So this morning I watched the front half and then told him as we were getting ready to leave out this morning, he literally sent me a text along about the situation.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy.
No, it kind of just screams how dark the Mormon religion is and how they are so guarded and shady. And those parents, I know those parents. Like, I know those like ultra religious parents who would rather excommunicate like
Yep.
blood
Yep.
because the just because of the formalities of how that child was created
Yep.
in light of them being able to, go to whatever tier of heaven they're going to and they get their own planet.
Not their own planet.
They do. I mean, that's what they believe.
Wait, are you serious?
Saria, yes.
They believe that they'll get their own planet?
So if you're watching and you're Mormon and you want to come yell at me because I'm wrong about this, I welcome that. I'm not an expert on Mormonism. However, from what I've learned I've known Mormon, I grew
Okay.
up with Mormons
Okay.
and just from, I don't know, life and learning. I find religions very interesting.
Okay.
Someone who's no longer in a religion, but
Mhm.
um, yeah, so they have a couple ideas about the afterlife. One is there is not really a hell,
Okay.
which I think is why they're all so happy. Like Mormons are pretty like happy. Like they don't have a lot of guilt
Yeah.
necessarily. They do have guilt. It's like, but there's always an opportunity to repent.
Yes.
Where in things like Catholicism, it's literally instilled in you that like hell's on the table.
Like no matter what. So you just better walk that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
hope that hell is not your fate. Like
Yeah.
it's always there. But so my understanding is first stage of afterlife is you can repent for anything, and then you're sent to like a tiered heaven system.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
Okay.
I believe the reason women put such a weight on the reason like we deal with someone like Brittany putting so much weight on
Yes.
finding a partner is because your place in the afterlife is reliant on like your marriage.
Insane.
And so um men and women, I believe in some scenarios can go to different levels of heaven and like not ever see each other because
And
of
then he meets somebody else on his level.
yeah, and then he's gay. And
All
then
right. All right.
also, yeah, I think the men might just be with men. But then I believe like if you reach like the ultimate level of Mormonism, you're the most pure Latter-day Saint.
Okay.
Get your own
Okay.
there is a planet at that has your name written on it.
Wow. Okay.
And then also, I do you know all the ins and outs of the nonsense they had with black people and their religion?
Yes. Yes.
Crazy.
That is, which to me, I could understand, even though I wished Mary had have expressed it earlier, but last year at the reunion when she said she thought Whitney was racist in the context of who she's filming with and them being Mormons, I wish she had have maybe articulated better because of what you grew up in and what you were taught to believe. I feel remnants of that. That
Yeah.
would have been a different conversation,
Yeah.
but so I could kind of understand why Mary was never quite, but then you had somebody like Jen Shaw who used that to her advantage.
Hmm.
Every time she could, she would throw that out there. So yes, remember Heather's first season, which I told y'all about Heather first season. Go back and listen to my recaps. But Heather was like, she loves all the things that Mormons don't: gay men, black men, and something else. She said, you remember that in her confessional?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, yeah, that is so wild. But
Wait,
I will
but a
say,
history lesson though for people listening. Uh, the Mormon Church did not believe that like black people could be a part of like their afterlife at all.
yeah, at
There
all.
was no point in you coming to church because you would not be able to even participate in the best part of Mormonism, which is the afterlife. And then in the 70s,
Yep.
they essentially the government said like if you want to operate as a tax-free like a tax exempt organization you must now that segregation is no longer you must include black people in your religion and then they all of a sudden one of their leaders said you know what God spoke to me last night and you're not going to believe this the coincidence you are not going to believe this coincidence but last night you told me that black people can go to our afterlife. And isn't that crazy? Like we just like he just decided that. Also kind of around the same time that like the government's coming after our asses.
Is it, in the words of Nene Leaks, is it a coincidence?
Uh, it is crazy. When you really start to break all of it down, you're
And
like,
think
wait, and these people are all Mormon.
this is why I talked about when they were going after Mary's church, especially Lisa, about the tithes and the offerings. And like literally, I was talking to someone Mormon and I was doing research online,
Yeah.
reading different things. And they were saying how you'll get called into the church. And like basically you are to provide your end of the year earnings. And then they match it up with make sure that it matches up with the tithing that you paid. You'll still get into heaven if you haven't paid it all, but it's a different
Yeah.
level or a different
Different
tier.
level.
So it's crazy. And I was looking at Bronwyn and her saying, she was 18, pregnant, and the shame. And it's the same in Christianity. I remember
Oh,
when
yeah.
I got pregnant, the same with a couple weeks before. Well, I had my daughter a couple weeks before I turned 20, my oldest. And I remember my cousin years later telling me his daughter was born a little bit before my daughter, but his girlfriend at the time, who he then married, came out pregnant first. And he was like, oh, I remember when we found out you were pregnant. Like he was so happy because the heat from the grandparent and the church basically was off of, like within our
Yeah.
family, like off of him. And it was like, that is like really crazy. Like how the shame. And I liked how Bronwyn said his family and even her family carried the shame, but she was determined to not carry the shame. And it's
That
so
was really
interesting.
beautiful.
It was because when you think about it, when they go out and preach the gospel, whether it's Mormonism or whether it's Christianity, they're supposed to be preaching about God's love, right? God's acceptance, right?
Mhm.
In the Christian world, in the Bible, it says there is in him there is no failure, there is no shame in God. But yet you're shaming this person because of a visible sin. So you're more concerned about the visible sins
Yeah.
than that just really stuck out to me because I know that's how I felt. My parents didn't make me feel that way. Of course, they were like, they're disappointed because they're like, oh my God, you were get ready to go into your third year of school, just all of that.
Mhm.
But they get over that. Like, we're having a grandchild, we're excited. But, you go to church unmarried, unwed, pregnant, and the looks, the
We'll
things,
talk.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, whatever. But I thought that was so beautiful when she talked about it. I like how Lisa, said she talked. The only thing I didn't, not that I didn't like, because even though I give Lisa Barlow never an inch, I did give her an inch last night, which we'll get to later. But I truly believe from her heart, she felt like when she was telling Brown, when I talked to the parents and there's hurt on their side too, coming from a place of I can see Bronwyn's position and also the daughter's position.
Mhm.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that there's hurt on their side because they've had 18, they knew I existed.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear. So don't, it's one thing if you want to facilitate the conversation and say, hey, they're open to meeting with you and step back, but don't come in telling me there's hurt on their side too. It's been 18 years they've had to contact me and my child.
Yeah. Yeah. I just can't imagine being in. It's one thing, like, we have some family members we don't talk to anymore, just due to politics and some crazy behaviors
That'll
and
do it. Yeah.
um but they don't live here. Like, they don't live in New York City,
Right.
and they live far away. And but I can't imagine, and it's easy to maintain that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But Salt Lake City is not a very big place. And like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine just living on the grandparent side. I can't imagine just living in the same zip code as your biological granddaughter and having zero interest in
Yes.
engaging with her. That is diabolical.
And you lost your son. You don't want a piece of him that's
Crazy.
walking around.
Crazy.
Like it just blew my mind. And I could see Bronwyn trying to be so careful and so like, because I know she really wanted to just like her head explode. Like, you don't get to say there's regret on your side when you knew about us. And you
Right.
wanted me to basically go away and have my baby. You know how they used to do. Oh, she went to study abroad and come back with no baby because you've given it up for adoption. I just was very much like, wow, but I appreciated Bronwyn's honest. The fact that she didn't try to hide it, like because there was no footage of them having that conversation. So the fact that she talked about it and the way she talked about it didn't seem exploitive to me, like Mia and Potomac. It seems genuine,
Yeah. That is
you
so
know?
explosive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
So
Um, yeah, also, by the way, I don't know if I've told you this, but one of Brian's best friends is Bronwyn's like best friend.
are you serious?
Huh? Yeah, she was like in the bridal party at her wedding. And
Oh, that is so cool.
yeah,
I,
so I texted her last night and I was like, "Can you like tell her or not? I just want to relay the message to you that she had an amazing episode last night, and
yeah.
she's making a great showing as a first season housewife."
And I feel like she's being herself. There's something about her that I feel like she's being herself.
Totally.
Like she's not putting on.
Like, the fashions are crazy and it's her. She's not doing it
Yes.
for anything. Like, it's just kind of like her shtick.
Yeah.
And there's something kind of just like she's sitting so authentically in herself. Like she's wearing these crazy clothes, sitting in a chair talking about the darkest parts of her life. And you're just like, well, I believe everything about her. She's just
Yeah.
so authentic. It's really refreshing next to some of these women like Meredith and Lisa who are so inauthentic to me.
And so produced. And
Yeah.
I love the fact I started thinking because at first, when they showed the first episode and she's walking in that cheetah print, like, oh, is she doing this for TV? But she talked about how no one would ever call her a trophy wife. Like basically she didn't look good enough to people to be considered a trophy wife. So like this to her feels good,
Yeah.
So I appreciated her being she's strong in her vulnerabilities, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, this is here it is. I'm laid bare. So I really like Bronwyn.
I agree. I like her a lot.
So then Whitney, Brittany, and Heather meet up. Whitney, Brittany, and Heather. That sounds like
A bunch of white ladies with too much to say.
they go skiing. They go skiing.
It's like the name of every white woman at a brunch.
Whitney, Brittany, and Heather. Oh my God.
And they split the eggs Benedict and have 5,000 mimosas.
Like, oh my God, we're so crazy right now. um, what was interesting to me, which is not interesting to me because that's how Heather is, but it didn't really click in until this when, okay, so they talk about Brittany and Heather's like, to Whitney, did you see the video? And they show the video of how, what's her face? Brittany came home and she had the roses in the card from the D-list Osmond per Lisa. That was really funny from Jared. Then Whitney talks about how she got this phone call from the guy at the hotel letting her know that Lisa left behind, well, a person left behind a box. Are we not getting all of the conversation? Because either Whitney has a tendency to do it. She's like, and yeah, Lisa threw it in the trash. I'm like, is that what he said to you, or did he say it was in the room? Like, so are we, because you have a tendency to do that. But when Heather said, she was like, this is my business, my brand. And Heather says, no, Lisa brought it up to Meredith, which came out at that dinner at the Harley Davidson. But Lisa brought it up to Meredith. Meredith told me, and I told you. And Whitney's like, and all this time I was going after Meredith. I remember having the conversation with Chelsea last week saying the way Whitney was coming at Meredith, like she's been spreading this conversation. Meredith, we didn't see that. We saw her have a conversation with Heather about it, and that was it. So now we find out that Lisa told Meredith. And I was just kind of like, why didn't we see that? Or was it not on camera?
Agree. I was confused. And then after I started thinking about it, I remembered I didn't care.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, who told who and why? And then I was like, I don't think this is important. This fight inspires no emotion.
Nothing. But it just shows you Heather, though.
Alibaba. I never even heard of that before. Had you heard of that before?
Yes. It's like an AliExpress.
Yeah, I had never heard of that before. Mm-hmm. So I was just kind of like, huh?
Yeah. But it shows you Heather, because Heather, why you ain't speak up in the Sprinter van when Whitney was going after Meredith this whole time?
Well, why didn't you? Well, there's one thing about Heather. It's she's not going to speak up.
Yeah. Until it's dependent upon who she's with.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that whole argument could have been avoided, but which goes back to Heather's, they want to be housewives. So they're producing this show.
Have to produce this much.
Yeah. Because I was like, I would have much rather seen you jump in and be like, you tell Whitney, listen, Lisa told Meredith and Meredith told me. So I'm just telling you. But how do you know that Lisa told Meredith? Did Lisa tell you too? Or did Meredith tell you that Lisa told? Like, it was just like, this is crazy because now we're giving Whitney, I can't even say she can't act. Is this whole, oh my God, are you for real? I've been going after Meredith. Is that real, or like, are you really reading off of a cue card? Like, I was kind of like, I don't care, but I do kind of want her to call Lisa out now if this is true. I don't know. I just thought that was crazy. Like, girl, what do you mean?
Yeah, Whitney, I don't know.
Well, I will always go back to Ultimate Girls Trip, the season that her and Heather were on. And she says to Heather, we're making a show, girl. I was like, that you are. Yeah, Heather was basically kind of like, you came at me about X, Y, and Z. Like, why would you do? And she's like, we're making a show, girl. It was like, she almost dropped into her adult voice when she said it. I was like,
Yeah. Not
oh,
her adult voice.
yeah, okay, okay. I see where you're going with it. And that's what it felt like to me. That whole scene felt like it was
Yeah.
produced or what have you.
Yeah.
But and Brittany trying to blame Lisa for, I was like, this whole Brittany Jared thing. Y'all know Jared came out a couple weeks ago and was in DMs and had a statement to make. And although I do think that's a bit thirsty or what have you, a part of me does believe that she kind of maybe told him one thing and now they get on this show and now she's made it so that like I'm the victim. Like it gave her a story.
Yeah.
Because if they were
I don't think she's
happy,
smart enough to do that, to be quite honest with
oh,
you.
okay.
You think I don't think she could be that manipulative. I think she just doesn't. I don't think I think he's a mess.
Okay.
Like I think the way he was talking to her
Well,
was.
but see, I thought, is he talking to her like that because he's trying, like, save me and you had a conversation before we went out.
Yeah.
I'm like, Tom, you're like, Taria, I won't get out here and say X, Y, and Z about you. Then we get out somewhere now that we have a crowd, you're saying it. And I'm like, Tom, and like talking to you, like trying to communicate with you,
Right.
like,
Right.
but like you said, it could be both, or he could just not be a good guy, like you said. Well, he was in the DMs of the brow girl.
Yeah. He was still in the DMs of that
Yeah.
girl, and
Yeah.
that's not a rumor. Like there was literal
Proof.
proof of that. So I don't really. Yeah. I don't. I think he's just kind of a 55-year-old fuckboy.
With the last name Osmond, and he definitely uses that to his advantage.
You can tell he carries it with him. They were talking about how when he walks into a room, he like has Osmond. I'm like, he does. He also looks like RFK so much.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
identical.
That's insane. Now that you say that, I'm not going to unsee it
Yeah, it's tough. And RFK is not fun to look at.
at all. Him and this whole sexting thing. My God. It's like, sir, is Cheryl going to leave you? Probably
She
not.
should, but it seems that
Yeah. Whole nother sub. Yep. Okay.
whole other subject I
Whole
don't
other
have energy
subject.
to get into today.
So it's funny when Whitney says we're all pro Jared, and then that's how Brittany goes into not all of us because Elisa, all of that good stuff. Now, did you hear that? Somebody just beeped. A lot of things have been happening lately
No, I
outside my
didn't hear it.
window. Okay, I'm like, heard this beep. I'm like, what is going on here? So we talk about Whitney. Whitney says she's hurt. We get all of that. Blah blah blah. Oh, and she feels like um, Heather says you're taking. It seems like you're taking it like it's personal. And Whitney says it is personal. It's about my business and my brand. And she feels like Lisa is the one that planted the story about her using Alibaba. So that's where we are. Next, a scene that was kind of like sad to watch because I feel like you could see depression on him. It was Mary and Robert Jr.
Yikes, this was really bad.
It was hard.
I actually don't like that they put it in the
I
show.
mean, because I like,
There's something not, he's not well and
no,
he should not be on TV.
no. And I was looking at him, I was like, he's a very handsome young man. And when you see so much what could be potential, but like something, it's not, I don't think it's about him being lazy. I think it's,
I think there's mental health
me
thing.
too. Me too.
And I know that I mean, I consume a good amount of marijuana, but I know that he is like a bit of a pot. She kind of like talks about how he likes to smoke weed too. And I think
Yeah.
there's like a mixture of that with depression, with
The other drugs.
really hard to see him ask for money. I don't like it at all. I
Me
think it's
neither.
kind of exploitative.
Yeah. And she's like, is it going to be for good? Your body's like a plant. And I'm like, oh,
And then when he shuts the door and she's like, Father, pray for
yeah, like bless him, Father. It's like,
oh my
we can
God.
have all the prayers in the world, but we need some interventions. Like
Also,
we can,
where's his father?
he's in Vegas.
Well, he should be helping with this child.
Right, right. It shouldn't be all be just on Mary because, he could probably get over on Mary. That's my son. And I feel like a part of me wonders if Mary feels guilt because we know the conversation. Mary knows the conversations that have been had around her church and around her marriage to her step grandfather. Her son probably has a
Need
trickle
we
down
not
effect.
forget? I think we're forgetting that sometimes.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's a trickle down effect. He was in school, he just graduated. So, like, or what, 2 years ago? So he probably got some of that residual stuff talking about her church being a cult. Like, he probably dealt with a lot of that and all of that. And I think Mary sometimes feels guilt around maybe his life or maybe what he has to deal with and tries to overcompensate.
Overcompensate. Yeah.
Yeah. And feels like she's doing her best by him, or like, I'd rather have him in the house doing it than somewhere else in the street doing it. So my heart broke because you can see how much Mary loves her son. I feel like a different side comes out of
Mhm.
her. Like, remember in her confessional when she was like, he's her reason for living, or she said something like that. And it was
Yep.
like, and that's that codependency also. Like, oh wow. So that part I was like, and she said in her confessional when she said she wants him to be disciplined, but right now he's not in a good space to be working. She feels like he won't focus, he won't perform, his attention span will be bad, and it has a lot to do with his lifestyle. I was like, is she talking about like DURGS?
I don't think he's doing hard
Well,
DRUGS.
he was with fentanyl.
Wait, what? He was?
Yeah. He's a report came out that he's in rehab right now.
Oh, I didn't
He
know that.
tested positive for fentanyl. That is,
That's bad.
yeah. Yeah. So it's not just weed, it's like that.
The prescription drugs.
Yeah. So he's allegedly in rehab right now. I hope that he gets help. It gets, not saying that it's better, but it's, if it's weed and it's on top of depression and unmotivated, yes, that's scary too. But you're talking about something that you could take and it like you are gone. Like, that's scary. It's got to, like, I can't even imagine how she feels as a mom. But I
No,
wondered if she was alluding to that in her confessional, like about that because of his lifestyle.
I don't, but I really don't want the world to know about his stuff. I think
Yeah.
like, I hate that we know that almost,
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
want him, because I want him to be able to heal off camera.
Yeah. And not be a part because I know this it hasn't even come up yet, but Mary's going to be talking to him and she's crying and he's crying. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able, like, oof, like as a
Yeah.
mom and as stuff. But well, Mary decides to go dancing with Angie. I love the way Meredith says Angie and Mary too. So
The scene was so weird. What were they doing there with Heather's daughter?
when Angie picks Mary up, she gets in the car and says, "Smells like onions. You've been eating onions." No, I'm like, Angie, do you stink? I don't believe you stink. So what is Mary smelling? But Mary's got a nose. She can smell those things.
Right. Well, I don't think Mary hangs out with smelly people though.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true. And Angie doesn't look like she smells. But yeah, they get to the dance class. They look like they were exercising. I will say Mary had some once Mary got the move, she had rhythm, but some of them look like they were exercising. I
But
was like,
why was Heather's daughter there? But
because
no,
she's part of
Heather.
the troupe, remember?
No, it's just so weird that Mary and Angie filmed a scene with Heather's daughter without her. It is so weird. I was so confused. It's like, what am I watching?
Like what is going on? Like, who set this up? Who set this dance class up?
Yeah, why couldn't Heather be there? Heather gets
Yeah.
along with the two of them. I don't know why she
Well, was that at the same time? Oh no, well, we don't know. That's the way they showed it, but we don't know if they were filming. Yeah,
at the
at
same
the
time.
same time.
Oh, the salt thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe. But yeah,
So,
whatever.
but yeah, that was crazy to me. Like, okay. So they have their dance class. Afterwards, Angie talks to Mary about how we were like sisters. And she was hurt by what Lisa said about you use Electra to get off the phone with me. But let's not forget, Jen Shah also talked about how long Lisa would have her on the phone. So this is not the first time we're hearing about Lisa having marathon conversations. Shout out to the beginning of our podcast about marathons. So Lisa's having marathon conversations because
Yeah.
Jen Shah used to complain about that. Can
Uh,
you imagine? What is she talking about?
herself.
Yeah, yeah. And can you believe like Jack's stomach was hurting? And I thought about when I was 16 and I was hurting and I was like, oh my God, did I like pass that down to him or
I
something?
can't stand her. And that's not just because she told me to fuck off on Instagram.
Yes, y'all. Tom, I know we've told it before, but I think it's funny now that you're here. We've told it without you being here, but now that you're here,
Oh, you guys
can
talked,
you,
did you guys talk about it last week?
yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So can you talk about Lisa Barlow and
Okay, so Lisa Barlow, the short version, Lisa Barlow had this Diet Coke partnership ad where she was like, I have Diet Coke at the salon. I have Diet Coke on the couch. I have Diet Coke at the Mormon Tabernacle concert. And so I just this is her reel that she posted. I posted the reel on my story and I said, I bet she has Diet Coke at the Ted Cruz rallies as well. And guys, look at me. I was being messy. I acknowledge that. But Lisa Barr, I did not tag her, did not tag her. Not 2 minutes after I posted, she DMs me, fuck off. I saw it and I literally was like, I almost chucked my phone out the window. I was like, you know when Nene sees Kenya's dog jumping on her, and she's like,
yes.
that's me. I literally was like, whoa.
That is
You know,
insane. She
this
didn't
was
deny it.
also, no, she didn't deny it, but this was also like a day before her appearance on Watch What Happens Live in New York. So like she was like doing press, and I'm like, get the fuck off your phone. Let me
Right.
troll you in peace. I didn't tag you.
Right. How do you even know this is here?
If anything, people are gonna go click on your reel and give your ad some more views, which will make you some money.
Right.
Like, can you
It
relax?
should have been thank you. How about that?
Clearly, you were at the Ted Cruz rally with a Diet Coke, where you wouldn't be so upset by it.
Right. Right. Lisa,
So I blocked her.
Mormon 2.0. You blocked. I love that. I
I
love the
blocked her
fact that you
immediately. I
blocked
was like,
her.
oh, same, because she could have blocked me.
Yeah.
Quick, easy. No,
And
I
now you're
blocked.
on her radar. So if she tries to come and look, it's going to be so funny. Like that you blocked her, blocked by Tom.
I should put blocked by Lisa Barlow in my. Well, actually, no. I should say, yeah,
I
you're right. I blocked Lisa Barlow,
I
and
blocked Lisa Barlow. What are you famous for, Tom? I blocked Lisa Barlow.
the
Mhm.
only people I've blocked are well that I want to mention here. Not
Okay.
there's some other people, but
Okay.
I don't want
Oh
them to.
yeah.
But I think Lisa Barlow may be the only Bravo Lab I've ever blocked.
Really?
I don't follow that many housewives and
Yeah.
Bravo celebrities. Like I pick and choose who I think are like funny
Yeah.
or entertaining on social media. So
I only follow housewives that follow me. I know that sounds crazy. I know you may be like, Taria, they don't even know you. They do. So, no, I'm just but so like if they come on the pod, I will ask them to come on the podcast. The ones I've had on, I don't follow them. They'll come on, they follow me, I follow them. Okay, great. I just will not. I think
it's
can't
kind of
I
a
don't even
power move to be like, I'll follow you after we record.
yeah, like I don't follow them first. Like I will not do it. And I think I was gonna say Candace might be the only one, but with my love for Candace, she's commented, she's like hearted my stuff and I've done hers, but no, if you don't follow, I'm not. I'm pretty sure I don't follow her. I've
But
made it a
the
rule.
only Potomac woman you've had on is Wendy, right?
No, Wendy, I've never reached out to Wendy. You
I thought
know,
you had Wendy on.
no, you know who I had on? This is funny.
Katie.
A that podcast would be absolutely insane.
And 5 hours long.
And Katie, it's the next day. I have to go. I really have to go. No, it was Ascala, Candace's friend Ascala.
I loved Escala. I wish she
Me
had
too. And I loved her
come on as a
backstory.
yeah, I wish she had come on as a main
Yeah.
wife.
I still want to talk to Candace because I wanted to talk to her about other stuff other than you know, I like to talk to these housewives about other things too. But
Yeah.
no, I haven't. What's funny is I haven't reached out. Did I DM Dr. Wendy like 2 or 3 years ago? I might have, and she didn't respond back. But I never sent, I like to send an official little write up thing, but I thought, well,
Yeah.
maybe I could DM her, but maybe I'll reach back out to her and see if she'll come on because I would love to have a conversation
I think
You
it'd be
know,
a great combo.
Dr. Wendy to you, sweetie.
Check that.
Check that. Clock that T, clock that T.
Okay, we got to get back into this
Yes.
episode.
So next up, we talk about Heather and we see Heather and Lisa at the salt caves. Have you ever been to a salt cave?
No.
Are there any real benefits to a salt cave is what I want to know.
You know, I had a salt lamp next to my bed for a long time and I felt like shit every morning. So
So see, because it makes your blood pressure go up because of the salt. No, I'm just
that's
joking.
it. It gives you the sugars, the
Yeah, I was
diabetes.
like, when she told them don't spill the tea because the salt would dissolve, I was like, I would have dropped it right then, maybe. Or like a little bit, like just because she said it,
I
like not
know. It's like,
so conscious.
wait, that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, like she come back and there's no salt in the room. That's the stuff I want to see. But Heather, of course,
I can't
gets in,
stand this scene.
she gets into about Angie and she's changing the dynamics of your friendship. None of that is happening. None of that is happening. And that was frustrating to me. It's like you're presenting this to Lisa in a way that's not happening.
Yeah.
So then Lisa gets upset because she's questioning my parenting. I did feel for Lisa in her confessional when she said, not feel, but as a mom, I felt her when she said, it's hard enough to have strangers, comment about you being a bad parent.
Mhm.
You know, been there, done that. People think they know your life better than you know it based on whatever. But so I got why she was upset in that moment. But this scene was just so, it's like, Lisa, you're not always the victim, but I do understand why you're upset. But even though you weren't talking about Electra, I still don't think she should have come up in that argument. And you can't dictate somebody's response back to you.
Mm-mm.
You mentioned her child's name, she mentioned yours in a different way. I get it. But Heather just sitting there like playing that role of, I don't know. I just don't even know why. I, I, I don't even know why she would mention that. Why is she changing the dynamics of your friendship? That's something you should talk about with her. Like, I was just over it.
Stop. Like, stop. I just wish she'd
Yeah.
make her be like, what are you doing? Also, I think she really has this mentality of like, I finally became friends with the mean girl. I
Yes.
want to like really weaponize that friendship because I never thought I would be able to be friends with the mean girl. You know what I mean? As
Yeah.
some, I think she identifies as someone who's like has been looked over in her
Yes.
past, and a Lisa Barlow type person would never have given her the time of day. I mean, they knew each other in college, and she didn't give her the time of
The
day.
time of day. And Lisa may have been a mean girl, maybe a different way, like as who people saw as cool and hip, if you will, and judgmental versus Heather has those same qualities and attributes. It just wasn't packaged in a cool way, it seems like.
Yeah.
So it's like y'all are really on the same wavelength. You just were never received by them. That's what I feel like. It was so annoying. So let's get to Whitney Bobby. Bobby. Oh, I'm sorry. Every time I see Whitney, Justin, and Bobby. Bobby. Thank God Bobby is out of ICU in real life.
Thank God, that's so
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, me too. It was asthma thing. I could feel her, so I'm just so glad that she's out and recovering home. Bobby wants another piercing. She's debating. Then, can we get into this, please? Whitney gets a call
From and we need to tread carefully.
very lightly. Lisa gets a call from a podcaster named Adam. I do believe he's up and Adam
Yes, you can find him here on YouTube.
on YouTube, and she says he's a casual friend. And he basically lets her know, saying without saying, that Lisa was who leaked the picture. Now, this is a prime example, y'all, of what I have been saying since I started this podcast. Sometimes viewers of the show will say housewives need to be careful of content creators and podcasters because they just want to get close to them. And I have always said it's content creators that also need to be careful. Because housewives, whether y'all believe it or not, want to get close to us to do their work for them sometimes. And sometimes it's like, okay, I see your point. There are some housewives, and we learned that with Jen Aiden and with Teresa allegedly, that they're giving them screeners and having them coordinating this whole big massive effort to sway people. And
Yeah.
that's a lot. But with this particular instance, it's just maybe it just so happened they're friends and he got this information and he was able to let her know, which I will say if I was Whitney, I would want to know that. Because I was trying to
Yeah.
figure out, I asked Chelsea last week, who do you think the account is that posted it? And she said, probably one of us, like a content creator
Yeah.
posted it. But I still don't know what, like, whoever Lisa allegedly sent it to, who it was that posted it. But we find out that this person that allegedly leaked it has a liquor brand, and the only one with a liquor brand is Lisa. Do you believe Lisa would do?
Now, I have some tea.
Oh,
So, okay. First of all, allegedly to everything I'm saying.
our
Okay.
names are even alleged. We may not be Tom and Taria. Go ahead.
Yeah. My name may be Bobby. Um, so Adam posted a TikTok or a reel or something that said that they filmed that scene at the end of filming, apparently.
Ah,
And also that they cut out a portion of the conversation where Adam said, okay, to clarify my source, I just recorded with someone on my show. I won't say who yet, but
okay.
they saw this reel and relayed this information to me. So I
Got
haven't
you.
laid eyes on the reel myself yet. So the blind leading the blind here, just to
Okay.
clarify on that. So for those listening, please take all of that into account. I don't want to get in trouble by anyone. Okay.
Yes,
Um,
yeah, I feel you.
no, it's not worth the over the Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Um, no, so he alleged that allegedly also at the end of that conversation, he says that there's no signs there's they don't have enough evidence to point towards Lisa, but they're saying that the person when I asked if the person had a liquor brand, they did say yes. But he said something along the lines of like they don't have evidence that it's Lisa. But I don't know who
Right.
else it would be. But
Right.
those are the two intels I have. Now, something we should all think about though when watching this.
Okay.
Adam, and this is not alleged, this is real. Adam has a podcast with Monica Garcia.
Good night. Wait,
So
when did that happen?
it started, I think, right when the Salt Lake City season premiere. No, maybe a little before then, but maybe like it definitely started like when maybe the trailer came out. It was like on the heels of like you're not gonna have Monica there, but you can come over here, Monica. I don't know what they cover. I have zero interest in listening to it, to be quite honest with you, but they started a podcast together.
I'm
So
flummoxed. Okay.
so he is in he's chosen to be in Monica camp, right? By
Right.
by working with her. So I believe that at some point this season, whenever we get this audio of Heather being like, you became close with the biggest enemy, I have to assume that that is Whitney who's befriending Adam, who is the
Oh,
host of the podcast with Monica Garcia.
that's insane to me.
Yeah.
How did they eat? Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to talk to you about that off because how
There are a couple other logistics here that I also have found out that someone else tweeted who's been on these shows and is also a creator
okay.
tweeted that you have to sign a release to be on camera.
Yes.
So whether it's Whitney in Adam's pocket or Adam in Whitney's pocket, there was this wasn't a sporadic phone call and
Yeah.
a clear planning of evidence
Had to take place for
had
you
to
to
take
be.
place before this phone call happened. But
Yes.
I think the phone call was pretty. I don't think this information is as like scandalous as it needs to be, but like
Gotcha.
their state, like I mean, sorry, what I mean by that is I don't think the Alibaba thing is as scandalous as they're making it out to be.
Yeah.
But Whitney is like propelling the storyline herself, it seems, in
Yes.
some
To
weird
give
way.
it, to have
She's
something,
giving it
it's like,
more light. I was listening to someone today, like who was it? I can't remember, but someone was mentioning like the more you talk about something, the more people believe that it really happened.
Yes.
Like no one actually gives a shit if you just are like, what? I don't know what that is. Like no one's gonna spend as much energy on it. But the more
Yeah.
you investigate, the more it's like you're actually making yourself look incredibly guilty that you did, do something with this Alibaba situation, whatever.
And I think that's where it comes to like they think they know what they're doing as housewives, but you kind of still kind of knew really don't because
No.
you're thinking that this is creating drama. But it's like if you wanted to shut it down, you could have been like, child, I don't know where my third party vendor gets it. If you would like to test out the jewelry, go to prism.com and I mean, like there's a way she could have, but now
Yeah.
you're carrying this on,
Well, I,
like
I
you
actually
said.
thought her first response was fine. She was like, I knew about this already.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Right.
fine. Now,
But
I think that this is where I get frustrated with Whitney a lot is like her initial move sometime for a lot of the time is not wrong, but she just doesn't let shit go and she also
yeah.
doesn't have great delivery. So like
Yeah.
once again, her initial reaction was, "Hey, I knew about that. I don't this doesn't have to be a big deal." And then she goes to her room and thinks about it and thinks about how she can bring it up on camera and make it a scene.
Yep.
And that's where we lose her.
Yeah. It's like, and then the
Like,
therapy speak. I'm feeling steamrolled. No, Lisa presented the truth to you at that dinner, and now you feel steamrolled. The therapy speak to me, it's like enough.
yeah.
I'm tired. I'm tired of this. Yeah. So, I guess we shall see. I'm still. I'm still. I did not know that about a podcast with Monica. Okay. Wow. Um.
Also,
Then
Monica,
begin.
like Monica, what are you doing?
What are you? And this to me is when I think she says a lot about the ladies, and I get it. She's hurt, whatever, right? She says a lot about the ladies, but
Okay, it's called Salt Tea Podcast. Awful name.
salt. Hold on a second. How is it spelled?
Salt dash tea. That's
Okay,
an awful name. But hey, you know what? They got 10,000 views.
because I'm looking at. Oh, these are because there's a Salty Housewives podcast
Maybe it's just a
about.
YouTube channel.
Okay,
Just like a series he does on YouTube with his YouTube channel. Now, I also don't feel that bad about talking about all this because he wanted to get on the show, so he's on the show.
yeah,
Where
but like,
the more people are talking about him,
and you had to have known
Yeah,
that conversation would come up, like with you being on the show.
right.
This is insane. Okay, because it's crazy though that there is a salty podcast, but it's spelled SALTY. That's funny. And they spell theirs a little bit differently. Okay. Wow.
Like
Next.
I really liked Monica
Okay.
as a character on the show.
Yes.
No, I have zero desire to hang out with her. I really liked her on the shows, but I just don't. She could have like used her. She was everyone knew who she was. The
Yes.
world was watching her, and this is what you're doing. I don't know. I find it kind of like a wild move to make.
Yeah.
Knowing her, she will find this, and please don't come for me, please.
And I will just tell you this. If you come over here, Monica, I'm not those Salt Lake City women. So know that.
And you
Okay.
something about me. I already have one wife blocked. I'm happy to block another.
But she can't think that this could help her chances get back on the show.
I think that ship has sailed. I don't think she's going to be back.
I mean, the way they're giving it to us now, we may not, it may not be
I miss her mom, to be honest with you.
that lady. What was her name? Like Rich Millionaire or something like that
LD,
on
LD. LD was
LD.
her name. Well, her Linda something
Yeah.
probably.
Ugh,
Linda
those,
Dolores.
that was her name.
No, I'm making it up. It
I
was just
was I'm like,
something hilariously basic.
that I did not expect. I cannot believe, okay, I'm still tripping over this. Okay, I gotta get past that. So then Brittany and Jared, my note just says, is this scene real? Question mark, exclamation mark. That's all I have for that.
Yeah, he's a master manipulator,
Yeah.
and
Let's put a pin in this about our relationship. Okay.
I think he just wants to be on TV, to be honest with you.
I think because he's saying that he's the reason that she's on. But if that's the case, like then y'all both want it because you probably want it too.
Mm.
Osmond. Okay. Then we get Bronwyn and her daughter. That scene was moving. I felt her daughter completely. And you know how her daughter, I can understand her conflict. I want to know about a part of me that I don't know, but I want to feel like they want me. Because for
Yeah,
them to say, when she said the message that they got was, but only if she's ready to accept us. To me, I took that as accept us how we are, no questions about why we didn't come.
1,000%.
Okay. Cause I was like,
I think they're gonna stay strong in the fact that they excommunicated that
yeah.
family.
Cause how did you can't move forward in that situation without even possibly thinking that she would want to revisit the past. Like I want to know why you lived X amount of miles away and knew about me and never came to see about me, especially after he passed away.
Yep.
Yeah, I think her daughter handled that maturely. And I like how Bronwyn said, it's not like he was there and left. So I felt like if I could be a good enough parent, you wouldn't miss that. And I kind of get that. I know for me, my dad married my mom when I was 3. So there is a biological, but my dad is my dad.
Mhm.
However, there were times when I often wondered about this other side when you would see someone that knew it, because most people didn't. Like I have a gap, like my dad, like all that. And when I say my dad, I mean my dad who raised me, who is my dad. But so people that may have known the biological might say, "Oh, you look like so and so." Who's that? And then it's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay." So there is a part of you that wonders, "Oh, did I get this from that side or this from that side?" But I also get her being like, "No, they knew," where I was like, I don't want to let myself down by not pursuing the opportunity, but she wants to feel wanted. And I get that. She's really seems thinking about it maturely,
Yeah.
I feel like.
I agree. She seems like a wonderful
Yeah.
girl.
And I like how Bronwyn, she wants to be like F you to that family. Oh, one thing I liked how she was honest with Lisa, which I respect. I'm having a hard time reconciling this amazing family with my experience of this family because that is not my experience and
Yeah.
hasn't been for 18 years.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really good. Then we end on Mother Mary clocking Heather at the zip lining.
Lickety clack clack. She and this delivery was, Heather was in
Gagged.
shock, gagged.
And
Oof.
then at the end, when Mary said, I'm not trying to hurt you, Heather, it was just I was like, oh, wow.
But I really believe her.
Me too. Me too. And that's what I'm like.
I'm not trying to be a dick right now, but you lie. Because one thing I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna lie, and you're
Right.
lying. You know.
And you're like, I like how
My room got so dark and look like I'm sitting in like a.
no, I think you're still bright.
I know. Wait, let me. I feel like I should turn. We're almost done. It's fine.
Okay. It's up to you, but I can see you. That's why I turned on my light because I would have been sitting in darkness.
Well, I know the
Um,
sun is setting, and usually
setting.
I have a ring light, but then I also have like some natural light as well.
Okay.
Um, but the sun, I'm not getting any sunlight now.
It's
It looks
sad
like I'm
because
sitting
it's
in like a
6 o'clock.
closet.
Yeah. And the sun wants to set. I don't, oh, I wish we could just have daylight till 8 o'clock, like all year round.
Yeah.
But I was saying, Mary, and I loved every point that Mary made. I agreed when she said, "You're in everything."
Yes, she is.
I was like, Mary better clock it. And I love, first of all, I need to go back. Oh, I saw that you saw Georgia the other day. And then the ladies are like, "Where'd you see her?" The wind blew her to me. And then when Brittany was like, "Oh, where'd you see her?" She was like,
She's like, I don't have to tell you everything.
I just told you the wind blew her to me." I was like, I love Mary. I do. But she was like clear in thought, clear in mind. Her message came across because it didn't come across like how she would deliver it in previous seasons.
Mm.
It was very much like you're supposed to be trying to, like, I like how she told Lisa, why wouldn't you talk to Angie? You've known her
Yeah.
the longest out of anybody. If that's really your friend, why wouldn't you talk to her? And Heather was gagged. All she could say was, we're just at an impasse. No, there's no impasse. Mary made it very clear who you are.
No, it's clear. She just clocked you. Wait, something that happened in the scene that I wanted to bring up. I noticed, I don't know if everyone noticed it, but they're trying to tee up this. Heather is working overtime to try and tee up a conversation about Angie. And I think Mary can
Mm.
tell that that's what's happening, which is part of the reason why she was like, the wind blew her to me. She didn't want to talk about Angie.
Yes, yes.
Um, and wait, one second. Sorry, someone was calling me.
No, no.
And so I think that's part of the reason why she didn't want to talk about. It. But what happened was Heather does her like worst acting job ever, and she go, I think Brittany. It might have been Brittany who initially asked the question, but it was like, has anyone talked to Angie? And
Yes.
Lisa was like, I haven't talked to her since we were in Milwaukee. And they cut to Heather and her face. She's like, why? What? And I'm like, girl, you literally yesterday were filming a whole ass scene about how much y'all want to gang up on this woman. I'm like,
Right.
you are such a fucking phony.
And saying how she's trying to change the dynamics of your friendship.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Mary clocked that. She was like, okay, I know I keep saying that word, but Mary was very in tune with what they were. And you're right. She didn't want to mention Angie because she finally, when she asked about the dance class, she said, I was there with Angie because she didn't want to give them an opening.
Yeah.
And
To
I
talk
love
about
that
her.
she, yeah.
She's smart.
And I love that she rode for Angie. Like, no, you need to talk to her.
Yeah.
And like Heather, you're too. Oh boy, when I'm gonna go back and rewatch that again. I was just that scene because Heather did not know what to say,
No, Mary went off script, off Heather's script.
and she was clear in thought and concise. The other ladies couldn't even say anything.
Yeah.
I was like, Mary is. I think Mary's also enjoying herself this season and is trusting the ladies a little more and feeling like they're accepting of her.
Hmm.
And I just feel like she's having a good time. Like
She's
it
having a
doesn't
great
seem
time.
fake. Yeah. So I love her and Angie's friendship. I hope it lasts.
Yeah, I think it will. They
Me
seem.
too.
I think Angie is a very nice person. Like she doesn't feel very vindictive to me, and
Yeah.
she's when she tries to yell, it never really works. I think she's like at the core of it, just not that type of person. So
When she kicked that chair over last week, my butthole clenched. I was like, I'm embarrassed for you.
she's. I just think it's not her. Like she's
Yeah.
trying to be a housewife. I think in reality, though, she's just like kind of a nice Greek girl from Salt Lake City. You know.
She's pulling it like a Jen Shah, but it's not coming off quite authentically.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, so this episode, I've really enjoyed it. It's making me excited. Enjoyed it. It's making me excited about the next episode and just the rest of the season. To be
Yeah.
honest with you,
Yeah, it's fun. It's like I really look forward to these Tuesday evenings.
did you notice
Wednesday.
when? Did you notice that Meredith was only in one scene? Now that I think about it,
Yeah, I don't I kind of wish she wasn't here, to be honest with you.
I used to love. I loved Meredith. I
I
mean, I
loved her
still
in the
do,
beginning
but
too. I don't know what we're doing.
yeah, it
It's
is.
just she doesn't like any of these ladies. She doesn't live here.
And her and Lisa weren't even. They hung out when she was in Salt Lake City,
Right.
but not outside of that. So it's like there was no allegiance really to
Yeah,
each
I
other.
don't really get the appeal. Like, yeah, I don't know.
And Bronwyn is the only one that I feel like Lisa is excited to hang out with. I feel like Lisa kind of maybe possibly sees the other ones a tier below her, but Bronwyn is the cool girl.
Well, she sees that I really think when they started filming, they're like, oh shit, Bronwyn's gonna be good. And they were like, the people will like her. We need to be
Yeah.
team her.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm excited about it. Um yeah, and I can't wait to talk about the next episode. I'm gonna have to go over there and just hear one little episode possibly of Monica because I just need to see. And I blame you for this. After
Yeah,
I've run out of all my other content.
guys, if you're watching this, listening to this, I I do not want to be tagged in any. Please do not get me in any mess.
You're going to be on the next season of Salt Lake City.
I don't have the energy. I
This,
only have the energy to talk about them behind their back.
right. And not, yeah, it is crazy. But I wrote something about Mia last
Uh-huh.
season, did not tag her at all. I wrote
None of
something
it.
like when she talked about Dr. Wendy's mom, like, is that your mom, Wendy? Like when it was a crow. And I said, now if Wendy had a stepped on a crack on their way back to the hotel in that cement and said, is that your mother? Is that your mom, Mia? Would you be upset? And Mia responded, no, with a heart.
Jump scare. These ladies, when they interact unprompted, it's like, stop.
I didn't tag you.
Right.
I
Like,
did not. That means you're looking for
well,
like your name or yeah, it's
yeah, I
crazy.
think they have like Google alerts about, you know, themselves. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find when the podcast started for you.
Oh, good. Okay. And you said it's on YouTube, right?
Yeah. It started September 9th.
That is new. Oh yeah, because that was it. It was about to start, right? It was
I think that probably the trailer came out around then or something. Yeah.
insane. Um, you're gonna make me go listen to just like the latest episode.
Go listen. It looks like they, not me promoting them, but they have an episode about the premiere. But they're not like recapping the show, which I do think is refreshing.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
She should not be talking about the show because that will not get her a return.
Yeah, that will not be good for her. Oh my God, Tom, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Of
You know how much
course.
I love you. So,
Love you.
for the people that don't know, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can follow me at the Tom Hamlet. The podcast is called Dumpster Dive, and we release lots of episodes. We have throwback recaps, we have reality recaps on what's airing currently, as well as some pop culture roundups. So there's lots of content to be had. And our current series that we're covering on our throwback recaps is Mob Wives season 2. So if you are in the, I think Mob Wives is the perfect fall television show. It makes you want like a bucket of pasta and a large glass of red wine. So if you loved Mob Wives back in the day, we're covering it all. So go check that out. And you can subscribe to the Patreon at patreon.com/dumpsterdivepod. Uh, very affordable tiers over on the Patreon. So please go support the doll.
Yes, please support the doll, y'all. Please support the doll. Our doll is out here. Our doll needs to be off to be training for these marathons.
These legs.
Would you ever do a triathlon?
No, I don't really want to swim the mile. That's like a lot.
I wanted to do, what's the one? Is it called a dualathon where it's just biking and running? I think you
Yeah, I would
run,
do
you
that.
bike
I
and
would do
run.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that years ago. I was like, I would love to do something like that. Just push your body to
I
like,
just don't want to swim for a mile. That
I
sounds
can't
awful.
swim, so.
I can swim fine, but I get kind of freaked out after a while. Like I'm like, I could just stop swimming and drown. Like you just,
Right.
I think about that sometimes. I'm like, if I just stopped, I would just, sink.
What would happen? Right. Yeah. So the water part, I was like, I kind of want to take lessons just to be able to save myself. But I was like, well, if it's that time, Lord, hopefully not. But hey. But Tom, thank you so much again. Y'all, please make sure y'all follow Tom. I'll have all his info in the episode description. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this episode. Are you liking Salt Lake City so far? Are you excited about what's to come? And I ask y'all this every week, but I'm going to continue to ask you as the season goes on. Are we doing it without Monica? Or do y'all want Monica back? I know some of y'all in the comments have said y'all want Monica to come back, but with this cast that we have currently, do you think she would fit, or are we moving away from that story? Love y'all so much, and we will talk to y'all later. See ya.